What's up, Tackles and Tinnies listeners? Episode 11. Cheers to that. Gazzy, how are you, brother?
I'm good. In a busy week in clinic, but busy is good.
Any hamstrings?
Hamstrings in clinic at the moment. I have one at the moment, yes. AFL player, the Masters. Rabina, where does he play? I think Bombers. But
Yep.
he's good. We cleared him to return to sports just the other week, so that's good. But yeah, lots of hamstrings out there.
Definitely an expert by this stage, Gazzy. My week's been good. Back to school today. Bit annoying, obviously. Back to work. I like my paid holidays, but hey, we got to earn that leave, I guess. So who's counting down 10 weeks? That's for sure. So, Gary, Physio Corner this week. What's up? Fill us in.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. There's a fair bit going on, like tough news for the Maroons. Broncos star Reece Walsh, he's in serious doubt for Origin 1 after picking up a PCL injury. He powered through the pain, but scans showed that he could be out 4 to 6 weeks. So it's cutting it very close for that May 28th Origin opener at Suncorp. And then depending on how he rehabs and progresses, he could be in doubt for the second game in Perth as well. On the brighter side, Storm hooker Harry Grant, he's on track to return from a hamstring strain just in time for round 10 against the Tigers, so that's great timing for Queensland. Elsewhere in injury land, we've got Jack Howarth from the Storm. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a shoulder dislocation. That'd be quite sore. I think I saw that one. Nick Meaney and Nelson Asafa Solomana, they're both coming back for the Storm, or I'm not sure when exactly, but hopefully soon. Sea Eagles, they're starting. Perfect.
Nick Meaney was named today. Yep. I don't know about Nelson. I quickly double check, but yeah, keep going, man.
Yeah. And then Sea Eagles, Tommy Turbo is back, but Jakey is sidelined because of the concussion protocol. For the Roosters, we got Nat Butcher. He lasted 10 minutes before coming off with a knee injury, and then his scans are pending at the moment. We've got that from the Dolphins. They lose Felice Kafusi with an MCL strain, and then JMK with an infection. To the Bulldogs, the rookie Jack Todd, he's out 8 to 10 weeks with a fractured arm. So another tough one. And Dragons winger Matt Fige broke his fibula, so in his hand. No, sorry, fibula in his leg. And he's got syndesmosis injury as well after a hip drop. Surgery's done now, and then his return date is to be announced, but that's likely going to be a while, if not next season, for Matt. And then from the Titans, exciting, David Fafita could be back very soon, potentially even this week. And then so is Lofi Camperera. And then JC, we know from last week that he's out for at least a month. But yeah, lots in the casualty award this week. Interesting because Origin's coming back and looms closer, so I guess we're going to have to keep everyone posted.
% brother. Like, as you said with Harry Grant, that's, I guess, good news because, again, it was like 4 to 6 weeks projected. So if he's back by Origin time at least, that's a huge in for Queensland. I think one of the big things maybe need to look at, Gazzy, is the Matt Fage fibula leg injury and the syndesmosis. Can we dive in a little bit of that? So the fibula, am I correct here? It's one of the biggest bones in the body?
Your femur is, so your fibula, I'm just going to Google this as well so I can describe it a bit better for the people that are listening. So you've got your femur, which is your thigh bone that attaches kind of down to your hip. So from your femur, you've got then straight down the shin, or the shin bone's your tibia. And then the fibula is the smaller bone on the lateral or the outside of your leg. So that bone for the Dragons winger, Matt, he's broken his fibula. So that smaller bone on his outside of his leg. And then from that hip drop tackle, it looks like it's had syndesmosis damage as well. So for those who don't know, the syndesmosis is like higher ankle. And oftentimes you see it a lot in rugby, but it's like cartilage that forms like a web between your fibula and your tibia. And that web and cartilage is kind of torn. And it's really important to keep the fibula tibia together and strong and stable. So that's in a syndesmosis or a high ankle sprain that's that's torn, which can lead to a lot of like complexity and also troubles with walking, running because of stability issues in the foot.
Yep. So he's got surgery on his fibula. Is that sort of a easy sort of progress to come back from, or is that sort of a bit more tricky? I've seen in the NBA before, long time ago now, but Paul George, one of the NBA superstars, he did a compound fracture, I believe, to his fibula many years
Mm.
ago. What's that sort of return to play for a rugby league player?
Yeah, it would be very similar in terms of rugby league player. So he's just finished out of surgery. So his rehab's going to look like moon boot for a couple of weeks. Probably, I'd imagine more that like 6 to 8 weeks in a moon boot just to immobilize the area. So he's not, moving it too much. He's letting his body do its thing. It's going to heal. He's going to get better. After the moon boot comes off, it's going to be quite stiff. He's been immobilized. His leg's not moving for a while, and so like it's going to be like as he tries to bend his foot, it's not going to go very far. But that's expected for someone in a moon boot. So a lot of ranging exercises, a lot of stretching, and then from there loading it up. So like your deadlifts or your squats or those exercises in the gym.
Yeah, good to know. And also interesting to note, Gazzy, Tommy Turbo named this week. Okay, he's obviously had a bit of issues
Exciting.
with his lower extremities. What do we think about Tommy's return?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's what his second or third injury, his hamstring injury this
Yep.
year already. Yeah, there's a lot of chat about his like longevity and whether he can keep healthy, and that's going to be in everyone's mind. I love Tommy. I hope he returns. I hope he has a good, return and he can stay healthy because he's just re-injured it so many times. The likelihood of it re-injuring again in the future is very high. I
Yep.
think we've mentioned a few times in the podcast, like the biggest risk of injury is the previous injury.
Yep.
So yeah, likely. I mean, whether it be this year, next year, but yeah,
Likely to
high risk.
return. Yep. He also did an MCL sprain, Gazzy. How is that going to affect the hamstring for Tommy? Is that going to be much of a difference or not really?
Yeah, with the MCL, yeah. That the MCL is like a ligament that supports the outside of the knee. So you're thinking that's your knee, just on the outside. So the medial side, the inside, that's just going to cause a little bit of laxity in the knee. Usually after like 6 8 weeks, when with a rehab with like proper strengthening, they're generally pretty good.
Yep. Okay, good to know. Good news for Dave Feeder, obviously, with the hamstring injury, potentially playing this week. He's got named at number 14. Whether or not he actually gets that start, time will tell. But obviously, Lofi Pereira, one of the fastest guys in rugby league, he's returned after a pretty long stint with another hamstring injury. And to answer your question earlier, Gazzy, Nick Meaney's obviously named at centre this week, but Big Nas Nelson of Solomona, he's on the extended bench named at number 22. So he's definitely a smoky to get picked.
Yeah,
I think they
that's
might
great.
try to get him back in if they can after last week's performance, especially. Anything else to note, Gary, for Physio Corner this week?
No, that's pretty much injury wrap for this week.
Yep. And also to note, guys, Dylan Lucas, another hamstring casualty of ours. Yeah, he's returned to play a week earlier than expected as well. So that's one to watch as well for him for next week. So, Gary, I think we just go straight into news around the ground. It's been quite tumultuous in the past 2 weeks with Cherry Evans wanting to leave the club, the Galvin bombshell, a couple other notable stories, or obviously the Spencer Lenu story as well from last week. But we got Lachie Galvin got demoted to New South Wales Cup. Lachlan Galvin, the 19-year-old rising star who recently rocked in the NRL by rejecting a long-term extension with the Tigers, was dropped to reserve grade for round 7. He suited up in the number 6 for Western Suburbs Magpies in New South Wales Cup, facing the Eels in front of 500 spectators. That led to a bit of turbulation between Benji Marshall and the senior staffing and the senior players at the Tigers. So it's actually come back full circle now. Galvin's actually been named this week. What are your thoughts on the whole dropping of last week, Gaz?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if it was like the right thing to do. Like, I mean, props to Benji. It's a tough job being a coach. It's interesting that they brought him back. It's like he's a good player, and you should have your best player on the field. Yeah, I think it's great that he's back because he is a really good player. Yeah, he'll do really well, hopefully for the West Tigers.
Yeah. Well, Jason Riles, who's the Parramatta Eels coach, they can't explicitly state that they want to sign a player if they're still on contract for obvious reasons. However, they can publicly say or court a player. So, for example, or Lachlan Galvin's off contract in 2027. Would love to have his services. He'd be a fantastic fit. We are in the current market for looking for a 5'8" because Dylan Brown's gone. So, yeah, Parramatta Eels are probably tipped to get Lachlan Galvin's services potentially at the end of this year. So that's a pretty crazy thing about it. Again, the Bulldogs also were looking at getting Lachlan Galvin's services. But again, feel good publicly stated that they're pulled out of the race, but who knows? That could be just all bluff, no bite. Where do you reckon he's going to rock up to, Gary? Early take?
Lachie Galvin, where he might get, where will he go? I reckon somewhere in like New South Wales. You mentioned the Eels. I wonder, what about South Sydney or maybe even the Roosters? I mean, well, Sammy Walker's coming back, but you know,
they need a 5'8".
Even though, yeah, could.
I actually don't mind that Roosters shout. I don't even think about the Roosters. Probably not a bad option actually, because Sam Walker's a halfback, Galvin's a 5'8". Definitely suits the role better than Cherry Evans, I think, next to Sam Walker. So that's actually not a bad shout, Gaz. Yeah, watch this space, I guess. So next up, we got the transfer whispers. So obviously we've talked about Jamal Fogarty in recent weeks. We've talked about Daly Cherry Evans. Talked about Lachie Galvin. However, there could be some dispute and some rumours going around. So, number one to look at. So, Jamal Fogarty's set to stay at the Raiders potentially, despite Manly's bid. So, Manly tabled a $1 million 2-year deal to lure veteran halfback Jamal Fogarty away from Canberra as a repair for life without DCE. Makes sense. However, Ricky Stewart and the Raiders matched the offer, desperate to keep Fogarty as a stabilising force and mentor to young gun Ethan Sanders. Paul Gallen believes that the deal is as good as done, and I'd be shocked if Canberra let him go. While the Raiders missed their window to actively second-year option on $650,000, they're now negotiating the same salary level as Manly's offer. So, what do we think about Fogarty potentially staying, Gaz?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So, Fogarty staying, they want him to stay at Canberra, or in Canberra for the Raiders. Yeah, wow, nice. I think that's great. He's a great player, Fogarty. Ex-Titans player, so I know, big loss. Yeah, I think he'll be great at the Raiders because he's got such. I feel like he's not on the level of Adam Reynolds, but he's like up there. You know, he can take control of the game. Great kicking game, great passing game. Yeah, he'd be great.
Is it Mays? But 650.
What are they paying him?
$650K. Like, that's nothing.
Yeah,
like.
Wow.
If Dylan Brown's getting 1.3 million, he's not twice as good as Jamal Fogarty.
Nah, no way.
So if we went
underpriced
for sure. Like I think next week we'll go through every team's halfback and maybe we rank the halfbacks, and then obviously value proposition in regards to their salary will make a difference as well. But if we're looking at 650,000, he's currently 31, so 32 next year. Still fantastic in regards to age wise. He's probably got another 3 years at least being. Again, not top tier, but one below. It'd be interesting to see the comparison between all the different levels, but 650,000, top of my head, he's a top 5 halfback. Is that fair to say? Top 6?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Yeah, for sure. Very undervalued.
So that's one to watch. And then the next one, we got the Galvin trade drama. So there's potentially a 3-way mega swap brewing. So NRL insiders are floating a potential 3-club player swap involving Lachlan Galvin to Parramatta Eels, which we've already speculated earlier on. We've got Dylan Brown to Newcastle, which is already set in stone, that 10-year mega deal. But this one you might have heard, Gary. Kai Pearce-Paul to West Tigers. So according to Michael Chams, the Tigers realise it's untenable for Galvin to stay. Letting him stay until the end of 2026 means he's walking for nothing. So there's no pressure to get value now. So the key complications to look at, and again, salary cap means a lot. Plus, again, you must have a total amount of players on your roster. So Galvin is only making $250,000 this year. Not so much cap relief for the Tigers, so it's not ideal. Knights would need to move a player like Kai Pearce-Paul, who's making approximately $750,000 to afford the Brown swap. And the Tigers are reportedly keen on Pearce-Paul and would accept him in return. All clubs need to coordinate the trade behind the scenes before formal approval. So, Chams is quoted, "The first step's ego. Someone's got to swallow pride and kick it off." What are our thoughts on, again, Galvin to Parramatta, Dylan Brown, who's already gone to Newcastle, and then we've got Kai Pispaul going to potentially the West Tigers. What are your thoughts on those trades, Gaz? This year,
that's a really interesting one. I think there's a lot of moving parts to that one. Hey, like a lot needs to kind of happen. Well, yeah, you mentioned Brown's already leaving, so it clears the way for Galvin, and if they can get Galvin at a good price, and if all parties are happy, yeah, that would be pretty cool kind of coordination. Like, is there any problems that you can see with that one?
in regards to like the trade itself, I think all parties win. Like the West Tigers senior players, so that's Luai, your Appy Coruscant. They still don't want Galvin to play, according to some articles that I've read today, and I mentioned that earlier on. So the senior group's not that keen for him to play. However, Benji Marshall's keen for him to play. So that solves the West Tigers Lockie Galby situation. Parramatta Eels aren't going anywhere. They've already lost Dylan Brown, so they're already looking forward the future. Getting Lockie Galvin a year earlier, that sort of works for both parties, and obviously gives Dylan Brown an early exit out of Parramatta to go straight into Newcastle, which then again helps Newcastle. They're clearing cap from Kai Pispaul. Yes, he's solid, but 750k, maybe paying a little bit overs there. However, I just thought of this just then, but the Dylan Brown, Kalen Ponga experiment immediately kicks off. So that gives the Knights a little bit more time before Kalen Ponga has to make a decision regarding his new contract in the next 18 months. So in my eyes, it seems like a no-brainer to get this trade done, particularly since Parramatta Eels and the Newcastle Knights are on the bottom of the table. They definitely need a shake-up. I think it works for all parties, to be honest. Obviously, Galvin's has the most potential, Brown's the most established, and the Knights just need something different because what they're doing right now is not working. So I think it actually works for everyone. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Galvin would bring a lot of attacking flair to the Knights. Yeah, good with KP there as well.
Yep.
They'd run amok.
So now Galvin's making a lot of news for himself in recent weeks, but we've got some more news on the Lachlan Galvin situation. Okay, again, it's moving past, and I said that last week. We recorded last Tuesday night quite late. Again, a lot's changed in 7 days. Again, he got dropped. Now he's back in. Well, the senior players don't want him in the team. Benji's put him in. However, speculation has now come to fruition that Lachlan Galvin potentially is filing a legal lawsuit against the Tigers for alleged bullying. So this is what I got here. Lachlan Galvin's management has reportedly sent a legal letter to the West Tigers alleging that the 19-year-old has been bullied since announcing he wouldn't resign with the club. The letter accuses the club of failing to provide a safe work environment following the fallout from Galvin's decision to walk away from the multi-million-dollar extension. So what sparked this? Galvin's contract rejection became public last week, as we said. Since then, teammates like Jerome Luai and Serena Taruva posted cryptic messages on social media that were interpreted as digs at Galvin. So again, that's where the bullying comes in. And we already talked about Benji Marshall dropping him and then reinstating him. But Benji Marshall has denied these allegations of bullying, quoting that, "I don't think he's being bullied by the other players. Emotional responses might seem like it, but it's not bullying. That's not us." Club captain Api Coruscant and Luai have also denied these claims about bullying in the workplace. And Marshall added that he spoke with the club to reaffirm the Tigers are not bullies. They only want players who are committed to the cause. Fox lead Greg Alexander called it a major escalation, asking, and he quoted, "Is this the step to see that Galvin released from the Tigers?" He suggested that the legal angle may give Galvin's management building pressure for an early exit, possibly through a grievance-based release. What are your thoughts on this bullying incident now, Gary? A lot to take in,
Wow,
mate.
it's taken a turn, right? Yeah, after a week, hey, pretty big. That's a pretty big twist, like to take it to a legal, into the law, and to write a letter to the West Tigers board and being like, you're on notice type of thing. It's a big call, hey. So I don't know. I'm kind of on this Fox League's Greg Alexander. I'm kind of with him. It is a very major escalation, and it's like I wonder if he's pushing, like he's unhappy at the West Tigers. Everything's already mounted to where they are now, and he would like a release. The Tigers don't want to release him yet because he's still contracted to the Tigers, but he's just in that awkward kind of one foot in, 1 foot out type of thing, and it's likely the next step to, I guess, get over the line so he can get an early release. Because I'm with Benji as well. Like the West Tigers, it's a sport, it's a business. They're like elite athletes. I don't know. It may be perceived by Lachlan Galvin as bullying, but I'm just not sure if it's like kind of that workplace harassment or that, that bullying type thing. But I could be wrong. I'm not there with the boys and stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of my take on it.
It just seems a bit sus, doesn't it? Like, it just seems like, as Greg Alexander quoted and you restated, Gaz, the escalation could be there just to get that angle of getting that release. It's like, well, shit, we've already dug ourselves a hole. We can't sort of rebuild a reputation. The boys don't like us. What can we sort of do to move this process forward to get us out of the club? And it seems like it was pretty smart by his management, to be honest, if that's really the ploy. And that's sort of emphasizing the point earlier on that we spoke about, that 3-team trade. I think it just has to be done. Like, I think last week really proved against the Parramatta Eels versus the Tigers game, they kind of need to get something done because obviously the current culture for that team isn't working. So getting some form of compensation, because again, Galvin's going to leave for nothing regardless, and will definitely be a worthwhile change for the boys. So good news, got some good news finally. So the Galvin dilemma's over. The Bulldogs smashed the NRL regular season crowd record, which is awesome. So on Good Friday, the Canterbury Bulldogs not only thrashed the Rabbitohs 32-0, but they did it in front of a record-breaking 65,305 fans at a core stadium, the largest ever crowd for a regular season NRL match. This eclipses the previous record of 59,708, which was the Roosters versus Rabbitohs in 2013, signaling a remarkable turnaround in Bulldogs fan engagement and the team's trajectory under new coach Cameron Ciraldo. So, got some quotes here. Prop Max King described the scenes as emotional. I had a tear in my eye. But the best thing, Gaz, and I love this, and I fucking wish the Titans do this, the club offered $10 tickets with no online fees. A savvy move that maximised crowd turnout. Got some supporter reactions too. So supporters who stuck with the team through tough years reflected on how far the club has come. So Carlin quoted, "In the early years, it was miserable, but today it's fascinating. I'm proud and I'm excited." And a Rabbitohs fan quoted, "This rivalry is being real now. Big crowd, great energy. It's healthy for the game, and that's what we want to see." Gary, what are your thoughts on the Bulldogs breaking that record? That's awesome.
It's great to hear. It's a great record. That's huge. And like beating it by 6,000 people at the game, that's great. And yeah, it's great for the Bulldogs fans too, because they've gone through the ups and downs, and to achieve that is amazing. And it's a testament to the Bulldogs too, because they're killing it this year. And a big reason is probably that fan engagement, getting people to the ground. The fans are turning up, so the Bulldogs are turning up. And yeah, it's great to see.
Mate, this is $10 tickets is a no-brainer. Like, imagine more clubs did this promotion. Like, we're trying to get more bums on seats, especially in those big Sydney stadiums. Do it. Like, I just don't get it. It's like the world at the moment is so expensive, like cost of living, inflation. We could talk about this for hours on end, but that's such a simple thing that you can do. And if you can get an extra 15, 20, 30,000 people in this instance, it's a no-brainer. Like,
yep.
And people might be
like the Titans.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Like, Titans should be selling everywhere.
There was what, 15,000 at the game on the weekend.
Yep.
If in capacities, I don't know what capacity is, maybe like 30,000. But an extra 10,000 at $10, that's $100,000 for the game.
No brainer.
But yeah.
Especially like trying to get more people in, and then people were like a bit hesitant over the years, saying, "Oh, I'm not that keen to go to the game. Don't know if I want to enjoy it. So good to watch on TV." But then you got actual fans quoting just then, "It was fantastic being there. Like, the atmosphere was unreal." Imagine you can get 40,000, like, okay, 65,500 every single week might be unrealistic in the immediate future, but some of those games only get 15 to 20,000, which is what the Titans get at home. Imagine we can get 40,000 plus every single week to a home game in those big Sydney stadiums. be so good for the game,
Yeah,
especially visually on TV.
amazing.
And the boys will lift too, like with that atmosphere. Like going to that Broncos Roosters game at Suncorp a couple of weeks ago, the atmosphere was awesome. Again, you're in a 55,000 stadium, you had 40,000 roaring fans there. The boys get up for that. Like, I just love to see that. Would love to see that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Alrighty, Gazzy. Cap or fact, round 7 results featuring ChatGPT. I'll tell you what, the algorithms changed because ChatGPT's back, baby. They got 7 from 8 right. Who would have thought?
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Very
That's
impressive.
insane.
That would have been a good little
Still better than
together.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. Well, that's why we do it, mate. We trust the AI. Trust the AI. Anyway, first game, we got Dragons beating the Seagulls 20-18. So the key talking point here, so back-to-back wins for the Dragons. Despite a frantic Manly comeback, the Red V held firm to claim a gritty 20-18 win at Four Pines Park. Clint Gutherson and Terrell Sloan were superb as the Dragons sealed a win that continues that unexpected surge. Again, I thought Jacob Little looked really, really good from dummy half coming on with about 30 minutes to go. Just key points here as well. Clint Gutherson, so the Dragons captain, obviously, he quoted saying, "We had to grind that one. Manly pushed hard at the end, but I'm proud of how we stayed in it." And Anthony Seibold, the Seagulls coach, quoted, "We're lacking polish in key moments. Execution in the red zone has to improve." So some key stats here. Dragons 6 line breaks, Manly to 2. Tackle breaks, Dragons 25, Manly 16. And then Lei Hopewadi with an astonishing 272 metres gained. I was talking about putting Cooler back there a couple of weeks ago. I'll shut my mouth here because that's what we want to be seeing from our fullbacks, those big metre eating runs. It's also worthy to note that Toffa Sipley was sin bin and put on a report for a hip drop. And we talked about that in the Physio Corner, Gazzy, which was a really severe injury at that time. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I watched this one. It was a good game. It was a good game. The line breaks, it's interesting. The Dragons are doing quite well, at least compared to Manly, and then a lot of tackle breaks as well. So the Dragons attack. Yeah, I thought Clint did pretty well too. Like, he's always safe. Good old Clint, safe as houses.
Not good for
I think they're going to be they're going to be good. The Dragons, I think. Oh well, hopefully also leading into the second half of the season, they'll yeah.
I thought they were really clinical, and again, they're only going to get better with more combinations building. And I thought that was definitely Damien Cook's best game at hooker. Obviously played a little bit in the forwards, but yeah, definitely his best game at hooker. Looked like his dynamic Rabbitoh self. So next game, we got the Bulldogs defeating the Rabbitohs 32-0. Crazy. Great win. So, key talking points. The Bulldogs delivered a Good Friday masterclass, dismantling the Souths 32-0 and remaining undefeated 6-0, and technically they're 7-0 because they had the bye. This is the first time this has happened since 1938. Crazy. Not only did they dominate on the field, but they also broke an all-time regular season crowd record, which we just mentioned before. Kicking goals all over the park. So some key things to note, back-to-back shutouts. So this is the first time that Canterbury have gone back-to-back in clean sheets in many, many years. They had the best defence in the comp. They were 20-0 at half-time. And again, I just mentioned before as a key stat, 6-0 start for the season, first time in 87 years. So Bulldogs Matt King for the crowd. I had a tear in the eye. The energy was intense. It's something I'll never forget. And Cameron Serraldo post-match quoted, "This is the team that's proud of what it's building. We're not here yet or there yet, but we're grinding and we'll get there." What are your thoughts, Gaz?
Yeah, that was a great game by the Bulldogs. They absolutely smashed the Rabbits. Yeah, and we mentioned it before, but it's a great crowd. I think that crowd was insane, and it brought so much energy for the boys that night. And yeah, I think they were able to just do a great job.
Yeah, they were unreal, mate. Like, so good. And again, I think they're only going to get better. Like, Kikau and Birdo just came back and another week under their belt. They're definitely going to be improving. Toby Sexton's been unreal. But I think the unsung hero might be there, Connor Tracy, playing at fullback. Safe as houses. Might not be that dynamo speed of Hamiso or have that playmaking like Tedesco Pappenhausen, but he's just solid. So solid. I thought Karaz was good as well. Yeah, they're just building, looking really, really strong. So, next game, we got Dolphins 42 to Storm 22. So, this game blew me away. Key talking points. So down 16-2 early, the Dolphins stormed back with 40 unanswered points, notching the first ever win over Melbourne, just 9 days after their first win over Penrith. Josh Kerr inspired the comeback in his 100th game in the NRL. So key moments. So Josh Kerr again in his 100th game scored a try, which is unreal for a front rower. Ray Stone scored 2 tries in 14 minutes. Again, another middle forward. And Herbie Farnworth snagged the loose ball and stood up Jerome Hughes with a stunning solo try. And the Katoa-Nikorima combination in the halves is starting to match and gel well. Again, that's 2 big games in 2 weeks in a row. Coach Christian Wolf quoted, "To come back like that against a team like Melbourne, it shows the belief in this group." So we've got some injury news again. Gaz, you already said about Cleese Fusi's MCL. You got Jack Howarth's shoulder injury, or dislocated shoulder, and also Maxi Plath had a bit of a foot problem, but again, he looks like he's going to be okay. What are your thoughts on this game?
This was my favourite game of the round, I think. How good was Nikorima?
Yep.
Like, I think everyone's going to be talking about it, but his flick, kind of like Benji Marshall 2005-esque, with the inside ball, and then, who was it? It might have been Ray Stone backing up on the inside. That was insane. Yeah, that was a great try. I loved that. Good game.
What do you think of Melbourne's defence?
It wasn't Melbourne. They looked like they were at 6s and 7s for a lot of the game, especially in defence. Like, they were kind of scrambling to get to the ball and defend. But
very embarrassing,
yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah.
And all that through the middle.
40 unanswered.
Yeah, crazy, man. And like, obviously got that late try, which sort of made the score a bit more nice on the tick sheet, but definitely something they need to be working on. And we're going to go through the round 8 preview shortly, but that's something, whoever's versing Melbourne next week, and again, we'll go through that shortly, good luck. That's all I'm going to say, good luck. Our next game, I've managed to, or Gary, we're at the Cromer RSL, we managed to see the very ending of this, but the Warriors defeated the Broncos 23-21. This was a New Zealand home game. So a Golden Point thriller. So a key talking point. It was a chaotic finish in Auckland as the Warriors iced a clunky penalty goal and Golden Point and sunk the Broncos 23-21. A late spine reshuffle saw Ben Hunt move to dummy half, and a change that almost won Brisbane the game, until a late error and ill-discipline handed the match to the Warriors. So key moments. So the Broncos set in regular time. Ben Hunt fumbled the ball from dummy half, failing to deliver it to Reynolds for a game-winning field goal. And then big Lukey Metcalf, 50 metres out off the kickoff, managed to get the penalty goal to seal the win. Coach Michael Maguire quoted, "We went through some pressure and I made the call to move Hunty to dummy half. It actually worked, but we weren't smart enough early to win it. Reece Walsh fought through a knee issue all game. We'll need scans." And again, he's out 4 to 6 weeks, most likely missing Origin, but probably when we're getting picked anyway. Rotational watch, and in particular, this is going to be very interesting now that we're in round 8. Hunt moved to hooker and Billy Walters to 6, sparked a short resurgence. Ezra Mann due to return in round 10 and Blake Moser waiting in the wings means Maguire is still learning the players in his spine. What are your thoughts on the Broncos and thoughts on the clutch performance by Lukey Metcalf getting that kick?
Yeah, we watched that last kick, and that was like 50 out. So it was a great kick by Metcalf. Not an easy kick. And that was off the back of a penalty. So I forget who it was. It might have been Reece Walsh kicking it a little bit too big. And yeah, I didn't watch the rest of the game. Looked like it was an exciting, like a thrilling match. Down, like a bit of a downer for Reece Walsh. Like, he is a big part of the Broncos. I'm sure they've got a substitute ready. But he is electric. Yeah.
Yep. So Cobra's going to be playing fullback this week, guys. And again, I think he's going to do a fantastic job there. Got to give Reece Walsh some slack, though. He had a PCL injury. Again, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. He played through that all game. And again, he's kicking 60 metres on the fly on that end penalty. That's obviously a lot of resilience that he's shown there. So, yeah, hats off to Walshy in that regard. But, yeah, definitely one to watch, guys, with the Ben Hunt moving to hooker, particularly now with Corey Pake's move to the utility spot and Walters at start. But again, Ezra Mann's right around the corner. So if Broncos keep losing, and again, they're versing the Doggies this week, Ezra Mann could be coming back quicker than we actually might be thinking about. So, next game. We got Panthers defeating the Roosters 40-12. Again, another correct pick. Well done, ChatGPT. The Panthers are back. After 5 straight losses and endless speculation about dynasty dying, Panthers exploded for 40 points against the Roosters side that simply couldn't keep up. It was their first win in Australian soil since last year's grand final. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Key performances as a stat, Nathan Cleary, 7 for 7 conversions, became Penrith's all-time leading point scorer, surpassing Ryan Girdler's 1,572 points. Controlled the tempo. He looked really, really good. Didn't have one major attacking stat. That means no line break, no try assist, no try. And he got 116 points on SuperCoach. That shows you how good he was. Dylan Edwards, back to his best self, back to origin form. Had 238 run meters, 1 try, 2 try assists. Again, safest house is the back. Paul Alamotti had a first double. Looked really, really good. 2 tries and kicked a goal. Key injuries. So Nat Butcher went off early with a knee injury. Luke Garner with HIA. What are your thoughts, Skaz, on this game?
Yeah, just initially when I saw Paul Alamotti and he had a great game, I'm like, shit, I traded him out a couple of weeks ago. Shouldn't have done that. No, that was a great performance by Nathan and Dylan together. Like they're back to kind of their usual self. Yeah, I think Panthers, they're back. It's great. After 5 in a row loss, it's good to finally see that they're getting back into it. So, yeah, happy for the Panthers.
Yep, definitely. I've got Ivan Cleary's quote post-match. This was probably our biggest test in 5 years. We were under pressure. I couldn't sit in the box. I had to be on the sideline with them. Like I never seen him on the sideline, so that's saying something. And the commentators on Dylan Edwards, still the favourite for number 1 origin spot, but his early season errors are creeping in. But again, I think Dylan Edwards, it's his jersey to lose. And again, if the Panthers keep getting some form back, yeah, he's definitely going to be there. Next game, we got Raiders versus Titans. Raiders, Titans.
No.
Mate, Seabass was popping off. I was in the best mood, had a couple of tinnies, I was feeling good. All of a sudden, Titans were kicking off, and then here come the mighty green machine. But anyway, read what I got here. The Raiders erased a 16-0 deficit with 22 unanswered points in the space of 13 minutes. Wow. Powered by another Hudson Young double and a game-shifting moment from Tom Starling. It was a statement comeback that lifted Canberra to 3rd on the ladder. So key talking points. In the 24th minute, Tom Starling flattened Regan Campbell-Gillard in a textbook David versus Goliath hit. RCG knocked it on and the Raiders instantly seized momentum. 3 minutes later, Tamale scored during Canberra's scoring spree. Hudson Young making history, so he scored his 3rd straight double, joining Steve Menzies as the only forwards in Origin era history to score 2+ tries in 3 consecutive games, which has got 7 tries in the last 5 games. Absolutely peaking. Fogarty's Masterclass, so controlled the game with his boot, set up Sebastian Chris's kick with an awesome play, and then a clutch try from Young to seal the deal. Expert commentary from Michael Ennis on the Starling hit. This is courage at its absolute best. If it doesn't inspire his teammates, I don't know what will. And Braithen Nasser quoted, "This was the turning point." Key notes, AJ Brimson exploded in the first 20 minutes with a try and a beautiful grubber for both former. Tom Weaver looked sharp, feeling for Jaden Campbell. Classic kicking game, unlucky not to try assist. And obviously JC's been ruled out for 4 to 6 weeks with his ankle injury. Gary, fill me in. What's happened?
Yeah. Well, you see, when the first 16 minutes, they were playing amazing. And I remember being like, yeah, they're on. We're on. We're going to be good. This is going to be a great game. And yeah, just a series of unfortunate events, I think, right? A series of unfortunate events is the best way to describe it. Just too good. It's like we didn't continue to step on it, like we're accelerating, foot on the pedal all the way, and then the Raiders, too good. Hudson Young, you mentioned, Fogarty, just a combination of those players. They've been consistent over the last couple of weeks, the Raiders, and whereas the Titans, they've been on and off. So maybe, I don't know what it is, but maybe just that consistency from the Raiders and that never say die attitude. Props to the Raiders. Bit disappointing with the Titans, but hoping that they will bounce back.
Yeah, mate, I'm a bit speechless, to be honest. Well, we are hooing. I'm in row 9. The Titans are bench is right in front of me. Okay, Titans bench right in front of me. So like 15 meters away from Titans bench. The biggest problem for me was you subbed off Tino like 3 to 4 times because he was blowing, and you played Jolliffe. The other two boys. One, I don't think Isaac even got on the field. Isaac
Both teams struggle on
didn't
the
get on the
edges.
field, I don't think, or played like
Obviously,
5
when
minutes.
David Feeney comes back, that's a
And
different
the
story.
other guy, I think he's the second
But
row.
that's just
How?
one board. But again,
Desi
Hasler needs to make better selections off the bench.
What's the point
But
of
for the
picking
Raiders,
these boys?
I
You
thought
may
they
as well
were
pick an
dynamic.
outside back
Watching
on the
them
bench
live,
for coverage
clinical.
if you're only going to play
Absolutely
a front
clinical.
rower.
And you quoted
5 to
earlier,
10
Gazzy,
minutes. What's
that
the
never
point?
say die attitude.
Like, I understand Tino needs a break.
Ricky Stewart's
I
definitely
don't
got
mind him having
into
3
the
subs.
boys there and started creating that really good culture.
If you're picking 2 front
and,
rowers
I think
and they're not getting on the field, get an outside back on the bench and don't let them play.
Who's the other
I'd
front rower?
rather
Joe
that, because then
Tarpany.
if someone goes down,
Both those boys
we
are
have
leading
cover.
by example in the
But the
front,
interchange
and everyone's just
selection for
going
the
with
Titans this week,
for sure.
Atrocious. I hated it. Chris Randall
the
at
Titans,
second row.
But yes, well done, Raiders.
That ain't it. Okay, he's not an edge back rower. He hasn't got that
Sharkies versus Knights.
Oomph that you need.
Sharkies
You haven't got that
34 to the Knights 14.
Or maybe a day for feeder like
Stadium.
Okay, we need
So
someone
keep
like
talking
that
points.
on the edge. This is a bit of a hot take.
Out of sync and
again,
attack.
it comes down to supply
Rolling
and
them
demand.
34
We have
to
a lot of
14.
supply of front
Thanks to a
rowers,
brutal
but I
middle
wouldn't
third
mind
performance
Bo
and another
Fermor
Dalian
going
worthy
into the
effort
middle.
from Will Kennedy.
What are your thoughts on Fermor?
Newcastle have now scored 7 games. Well, the Sharks found joy through a crisp
he's a second
execution and
front row,
superior
like a
forward
second row at the
momentum.
moment. You mean like going into front row?
Oregon Kafusi had a fantastic game.
He would be all right
Adam
there. Like, he'd
Blake
be a
crashed
more of
over
a
a
mobile
slick
prop.
ball through Cam
He kind of
McInnes.
reminds me of like a Ruben
Will
Cotter.
Kennedy laid on a try for Sam Stonestreet.
Jesse
Ramian intercepted a Ponga pass and turned it into a breakaway try.
A quick one.
And
Think about where the game's
try on
going.
the
Bulldogs
left
have
edge,
done so well. They've got all
get
these
Parodi
utility
SuperCoach that
forwards
cost me
playing through the middle.
100,000 in cash.
He's like a Josh Curran-ish sort of
Knight
type
struggles.
player. Okay, think about those Bulldogs utilities that they've all come through.
Their whole forward pack is struggling. They're not going
Satili
forward.
Tupanua, all these guys who are very similar body shape.
Really evident.
Only
positive, so some late tries
bulk.
to sharp up
I
with some
think
of the
due
scoreboard
to
respect.
Fermor's new bulk, I think he slowed down a touch, and I think that sort of impacted
the coach of the Knights,
edge.
Adam O'Brien,
I'd love to see him in the middle,
15 to 10 minute efforts.
Any
But the
second
sin
rows
bin,
with Chris Randall
Tyson
playing,
Gamble, he's been out for months.
as well.
He'll be better for the run.
So I think
Kalen Ponga quoted,
too many front rows, not enough second
there,
rows,
but we've got to get more discipline, and we're going to beat sides like
we're in a
this,
very
like
similar
the Warriors.
situation to the Broncos. The
Craig
Broncos have a
Fitzgibbon
lot
quoted,
of good middles.
We haven't seen the
Titans
best of
have a lot of
Oregon
good middles.
Kafusi yet. He's
Both
developing
teams
really
struggle
strong
on the
alongside
edges.
Ken.
Obviously, when David Feeney
What
comes
are your
back, that's a
thoughts
different
on the
story.
lackluster Knights
But that's
and
just
the Savage
food
Sharks?
for thought going forward. But again, Desi Hasler needs to make better selections off the bench. But for the Raiders, I thought they were dynamic. Watching them live, clinical. Absolutely clinical. And you quoted it earlier, Gazzy, that never say die attitude. Ricky Stewart's definitely got into the boys there and started creating that really good culture. And I think Papali'i and what's his name? Who's the other front row? Joe Tarpany. Both those boys are leading by example in the front, and everyone's just going with it for sure. But yeah, nothing better than the depression of the Titans. But yes, well done, Raiders. So next game, we got the Sharkies versus the Knights. Sharkies 34 to the Knights 14 at McDonald's Joint Stadium. So key talking points. So Cronulla took advantage of the Knights team that completely out of sync in attack, rolling them 34 to 14.
They've been a
thanks
top
to
14
brutal
for like the
middle
past 3
third
to 4
performance
years.
and another Dalian worthy effort
Fitzgibbon's done a
from
great
Will
job
Kennedy.
with those boys.
Newcastle have now
the days
scored
of
more than
Nico
10
Hines
points in
being a gun
just 2 of their last
player
7
are
games.
over,
The
which
Sharks
is fine.
found
If the
joy
Sharks are
through
winning,
Chris
who
execution,
cares?
superior
The Sharks are
forward
winning.
momentum.
Who cares?
Oregon Kafusi had a fantastic game. Scored the opening and assisted on a second.
Again,
Adam Fanua-Blake
and
crashed
rumours
over a
of
slick
Will
ball
Kennedy
through
losing
Cam
his job
McInnes.
from a couple other
Will
boys.
Kennedy laid on a try for Sam Stonestreet and scored one himself off a Bailey
shot
grubber.
them right up.
Jesse Ramian intercepted a Ponga pass and turned into a breakaway try via Stonestreet. Parodi iced the game with a softest of tries on the left edge, and I didn't get Parodi in SuperCoach. That
they
cost me
got some tries.
So Knights struggles.
We can score some points.
Their whole forward pack is struggling. They're not going forward.
Greg Marju had his best game of the
struggling
year.
in attack.
Did fantastic
really
on
evident.
SuperCoach. Got like 138
only positive,
points.
so some late tries to sharpen Sheila to salvage some scoreboard respect. Coach, the coach of the Knights, Adam O'Brien,
the boys would be better.
We had some 15 to 10 minute effort, but the sin bin and the injuries caught up with us.
I'll leave it like
Tyson Gamble, he's been out for months.
The last game of the round, Gazzy, you got the Parramatta Eels defeating the Tigers 8-22.
But we've
I watched
got
this game
more
before into footy yesterday.
And we're going to beat sides like this.
The key
like
talking points: Galvin versus Moses.
Quoted,
but only
we haven't
one
seen the best
play.
of Oregon.
The Eels led to
he's developing
returning
really
of Mitchell
strong
Moses.
alongside Cam
and 38
what are
being
your
reduced
thoughts
to
on the
11 men at 1
lackluster
point,
Knights and
holding
the
a desperate
the
Tigers
Savage
comeback
Sharks,
in a clash.
Yeah,
So key moments,
we spoke
most of
about
return
it
in
a lot
style. He had
last
4
week,
try-line
where
conversion and a
the
40-20
Knights
that flipped momentum
attacking
early.
very well.
The
And they
Tigers fight
seem like
back
they're
late.
continuing
So
that
Luai set up
trend.
2 covers for
Minimal
Sayfarth and
points, averaging
Lalihi,
of
but poor
10
executions
or
try in the
just over
75th minute.
10.
Moses kicked early on tackle 2 to
They're
catch the
not.
Tigers sleeping.
They're
That
not.
was fantastic.
Something that they're not
And then
clicking.
Josh Adokars
I
intercept
think you
in the
mentioned it
70th
before.
minute.
It's like
As
the
the Tigers were
forwards
pushing.
aren't getting them
Now,
in a good
this
field
was interesting
position,
to watch.
and then
So the
maybe
chaos.
the
So
backs
Serena
feel like they
Truva from the
can't
Tigers
work
was
anything,
binned for
at least
slamming
from,
Riley Smith
from
in the scuffle.
Tonga's perspective, like unable to
Luca
get
Moretti
good
from the
ball
Parramatta
out.
binned for retaliating. Fair
So
enough. That's 12 versus 12.
yeah, hopefully that's
Then
something they
Isaiah
can
Yongi
work
for a
on.
professional
But
for 5
Sharky's
minutes.
just way
So
too good,
for
way
5
too
minutes,
dominant.
that's 11 on the
Sharks
field.
again are a top
I'd
4
love
team.
to
They've been
see
a
it.
top 4
Love
team
to
for
see
like
a
the
bit of
past 3 to 4
extra
years.
thrown
Fitzgibbon's
around.
done a great job with
Ideally
those
12
boys.
versus 12, but
I think the days of Nico
it's good to
Hines
see.
being a gun Supercoach player
But
are
that
over,
really helped
which
the
is
Tigers
fine
set
if the
back in the
Sharks are
game at
winning.
that point.
Who cares?
So player
The Sharks
standouts,
are
obviously,
winning.
we
Who
talked about
cares if
Mitchell
Nico Hines is
Moses.
going to be a
Game
one-man
fantastic,
team?
hasn't
Again,
missed a
Trindle's
beat.
done a fantastic job balancing
Terrell
it out.
May, fantastic
Again,
as well. He had
there
16
was
runs, 3
mumblings and
offloads,
rumours
37
of Will
tackles and 1
Kennedy
try.
losing his job
He played the
from a
full
couple
80
other
minutes
boys
in the
like
middle.
Kate Dykes and some of the
Sure,
younger
he's
fellas
going
coming
Origin
through.
for New South
So
Wales.
he's shot
And
them
Jerome
right up.
Luai
He's currently
into the
leading the
game.
Dally M
Some
medal
rough patches,
now
but
at the
nearly
moment.
pulled them level with some
Pardon me.
short, smart kicks.
Yeah, he's looking great. Will
Key
Kennedy
quote,
at the
so
back.
Andrew
But
on
again, I
Talangi's
think
hip
the
drop
biggest thing
plus
is
milk try.
for the
He cannot,
Knights, they
that's
got
just
some
ridiculous.
tries, and that sort of gets that monkey off the back. Now
And
they
a
can sort of
fanfare
say,
moment.
hey, we can
Crowd
score
erupted after
some
Moses
points.
hit no
Let's get the
penalty
ball
try.
rolling. I thought
Justice
Greg Marju had his
Lally
best game
scored
of
the
the
next
year.
set anyway off a
Did
grubber.
fantastic on Supercoach, got like 138 points.
Simon Mandascari.
I didn't play
A lot of
him.
drama with
Cost me
Galvin and
100
Moses
points with
coming back.
Supercoach.
Obviously, origin
But,
contention between Moses and
such is
Luai.
life.
What are we thinking?
But yeah, the
Thoughts?
boys will do better. Hope they don't. Yeah, Ponga needs to get some form for Origin. That's what I'm saying. I'll leave it like that. And the last game of the round, Gazzy, you got the Parramatta Eels defeating the Tigers 38-22. I watched this game before into footy yesterday. The key talking points: it was billed as a Galvin versus Moses, but only one played. The Eels led to a returning of Mitchell Moses, who piled on 38 points despite being reduced to 11 men at one point, holding a desperate Tigers comeback in a chaotic Easter Monday clash. So key moments: Moses return in style. He had 4 try assists, 1 clutch sideline conversion, and a 40-20 that flipped momentum early. The Tigers fight back late, so Luai set up 2 tries with grubbers for Sayfarth and Lalihi, but poor execution in key moments cost them. Bailey Simpson's try in the 75th minute.
I thought Terrell
Moses
Mayer was
kicked early on
fantastic,
tackle
and
2
if
to
you're a
catch
New
the
South
Tigers
Wales
sleeping.
supporter,
That was fantastic.
you would want him in there.
And then
like
Josh
him and Payne
Adokars
Haas,
intercept on the 78th
that
minute.
dynamic duo.
Killed the game as the
Bloody hell,
Tigers
you
were
got some
pushing
good
to
back
level
rowers
up.
who could be some viable options.
This was
in the
interesting
middle
to watch.
as well.
So Sin Bin Monday. So the
New
chaos.
South
So
Wales
Serena
gonna be
Truva from the
very,
Tigers
very hard to
was
beat with
binned
some
for
of those
slamming Riley
forwards
Smith
in great
the
form.
scuffle.
Harry, I
Luca
was
Moretti
misquoted
from
myself
the Parramatta
earlier.
Eels
I said
binned
ChatGPT
for
was 7
retaliating.
from 8.
Fair enough. That's 12 versus 12.
They actually had a clean sheet.
Then
They were
Isaiah
8 from
Yongi
8 this
binned
week.
for a professional
ChatGPT.
foul. So for 5 minutes. So for 5 minutes at one stage, it was 12 versus 11 on the field.
Tackles and Tinnies
Love
listeners.
to see it. Love to see a bit of
Take on the multi
extra
next week. Have a
ball
crack.
being thrown around.
Tell you what,
Ideally
that's
12 versus 12.
pretty
But
good. 8 for 8. That's
yeah,
by
it's good
far
to
the
see.
best one.
But that
Maybe
really helped the
ChatGPT's
Tigers
learned
get back in the game at that point. So
the
play
algorithm.
standouts. Obviously, we talked about Mitchell Moses controlling the game.
That was
fantastic.
ChatGPT's fact or fact for round 7. Now we're looking at
Terrell May,
ChatGPT's
fantastic as
capital
well.
fact
He had
for
16
round
runs, 3
8.
offloads, 37
So
tackles and 1
ChatGPT
try.
has
He
predicted
played the full 80
the
minutes in the middle.
Doggies to beat the
Sure,
Dragons.
he's going Origin for New South
ChatGPT
Wales.
has predicted the
and
Panthers to beat the
Luai
Cowboys.
into the game. Some rough patches,
ChatGPT
but
has
nearly
predicted the
pulled them
Sharks
level
to
with
beat the
some short,
Rabbitohs.
smart kicks.
He predicted the
Key
Roosters
quote, so
to beat
Andrew
the
Voss from
Warriors.
Fox lead on
Predict the
Talangi's hip drop
Broncos to
plus
beat the
milk
Tigers.
try. He cannot
The
be
Knights
reported
to
on.
beat
That's just
the
ridiculous.
Eels.
That's
Interesting.
outrageous.
And the Storm
And a
to beat
fanfare
the
moment.
Dolphins.
Crowd erupted after Moses hit
so
Lalui
again,
high. No bin.
We'll
no
update you
penalty
guys
try.
on the
Justice
results next week.
Lalui
But
scored the
again,
next
looking at
set
some of
anyway
those
off a
tips,
grubber from Jerome Luai.
look pretty.
Simon Mandascari. A lot of drama with
Guys,
Galvin and Moses
I
coming
was
back.
mentioned the past
Obviously,
couple-
origin contention between
Yep,
Moses
sorry,
and Luai. What are we thinking? Thoughts?
That
Can
was
you,
a fiery game. I remember watching it, and I saw that.
Yes, I did say round
Taruga's
7.
throw.
Can
That
you
was like
fill me in? Got my
good
wrong sheet up.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu style, like over the back. I thought that the Tigers did really well to almost like claw their way back. They were gaining a lot of momentum. Like I think it was like 65 minutes in, and it looked like at one stage that they could
let's
have
just scrap that. I'll
come
edit
back,
that out.
or like at least tied it
Anyway,
or gotten close.
Okay, 7
I
betting
thought
guys. So
that
Gazzy,
Luai did really well.
Manly at
Was a
home
bit
versus
of a
Dragons.
standout.
I
He
bet
kind
the
of,
Dragons. You bet
took
Manly.
control of the game, and
So
I thought
Doggies versus the
his
Rabbit.
game control
Okay,
was
so
really
I bet
good. Yeah,
Dolphins versus
it was a
Storm. We
good
both
game
bet the
to
Storm, so I didn't
watch.
get that one right.
I thought
Warriors
Terrell
versus
was
Broncos.
fantastic.
You
and
tipped
if
the
you're a New
Warriors,
South Wales
Gaz. You got that
supporter,
one up on me.
You would want him in there.
Roosters
like him
versus
and Payne
Panthers.
Haas,
Okay, I bet
that
the
dynamic
Panthers.
duo.
I got that one right.
Bloody hell, you got some good back
Both
rowers
bet
who
the
could
Titans.
be some
No
viable
good.
options in the middle as
Knights
well.
versus Sharks. Both bet the
New
Sharks.
South
Got that one
Wales
right.
Going to be very,
And the
very
Tigers
hard
versus
to
the
beat with
Eels.
some of those
Both bet
forwards
on the
in great
Tigers.
form. But
Prediction
Gary,
this
I was
week,
misquoting
bet on
myself earlier.
Happy to
I said
score 100 plus on
ChatGPT was 7
Supercoach.
from 8.
Again, which I was
They
wrong.
actually had a clean sheet.
Gutho to
They
score
were
100
8
points
from
on
8 this
Supercoach.
week. ChatGPT.
Also wrong. Melbourne,
Nice.
big 4 to score,
ChatGPT
which is also
back.
wrong, particularly
Tackles
since Harry
and
Grant
Tinnies
did not even
listeners.
play today.
Take on the multi
Gary.
next week. Have a crack.
Your bold
Tell
predictions.
you what, that's
Read them out for
pretty
me,
good.
mate.
8 for 8. That's by far the best one it's done. Maybe ChatGPT's
That's
learning
great.
from the algorithm. So that was ChatGPT's fact or fact for round 7. Now we're looking at ChatGPT's cap or fact for round 8. So ChatGPT has predicted the Doggies to beat the Dragons.
56, I think.
ChatGPT has predicted the Panthers to beat the Cowboys. ChatGPT has predicted the Sharks to beat the Rabbitohs. He predicted the Roosters to beat the Warriors. Predicted the Broncos to beat the Tigers. The Knights to beat the Eels.
Yeah. So again, our bold predictions
and
are
the Storm
maybe
to beat
too bold.
the Dolphins. Okay,
that
so
is
again,
improved.
we'll update you guys
so that's
on
our round
the
7.
results next week.
So Gazzy,
but again,
I
looking at some of those
believe
tips,
I am now
pretty
2
solid.
Panthers versus
So
Manly.
round 7
Both got
betting
the
guys.
Panthers.
So Gazzy,
Raiders versus
Manly
you
at
got the
home versus
Raiders,
Dragons.
and
I
the
bet the
Sharkies versus
Dragons.
the
You bet
Tigers.
Manly.
I've got the
So I
Sharkies.
got that one correct.
Yeah.
Doggies versus the
So,
Rabbits.
bold predictions
Okay,
this
so
week.
I bet the Dogs.
I
You
got
bet the
the Storm
Dogs.
to keep the
Same thing
Rabbitohs
each.
and
Dolphins
win
versus
by
Storm. We both bet the
16.
Storm, so I didn't get that one
Got
right.
Cleary to
Warriors versus
Supercoach,
Broncos.
and Gutho
You
to have
tipped
a
the
bounce
Warriors,
back
guys. You got
and
that one up
score
on me.
85 in
Roosters versus
Supercoach.
Panthers.
What about you guys?
I bet the Panthers. I got that one right. Both bet the Titans. No good. Knights versus Sharks. Both bet the Sharks. Got that one right. And the Tigers versus Eels. Both bet on the Tigers. So your bold predictions this week. I bet on Pappy to score 100 plus on Supercoach.
Yeah.
Again,
I
which
think
I
that's
was
pretty
wrong.
spicy. I
Gutho
like
to
the
score 100
last one.
points
I
to
think the
Supercoach.
Warriors will
Also wrong.
have
And
a
then
crack.
3 out of the
That's for
4
sure.
Melbourne big 4 to score, which is also wrong, particularly since
So
Harry
guys,
Grant
just
did
want
not
to
even play in the
reiterate
game.
by the
Gary,
things here.
your bold predictions.
Obviously, we'll get Gary's
Read 'em out for
update
me,
on
mate.
Jake
Your
and Adam, the
50,
10
yeah.
player. I think he's
So
got
again, our bold
still
predictions
700,000 in the bank.
maybe
and he's
too
scored
bold.
30
Betting's
so,
improving, I
again,
guess.
those guys are awesome. Chris
So
and
that's our
Andrew
round 7.
to feature.
Gazzy,
They did
I
feature last
believe
week. My
I
bad
am now
in
2
regards
up
to
on
uploading the
you
episode.
for the
But again,
whole
if you guys are
season.
new NRL Supercoach or NRL
Get ready to get
Fantasy,
those, running
definitely
legs
jump
moving,
onto the
mate.
family. What's happening with
Go
your
do the
Supercoach at
Nuggets
the
too,
moment?
mate. Don't get the Nuggets. Okay, so yeah, round tipping for round 8, Gaz. Okay, we got the Broncos
Your
versus the
score,
Dogs.
what's your-
We both hit the
your
Dogs.
trade,
Got
what's
the
your rank?
Roosters versus the Dragons. I got the Dragons, and you got the Roosters. Got the Warriors versus the Knights. I both got the Warriors there. Storm versus Rabbits. Both got Storm. Cowboys versus Titans. Both got the Titans. Panthers versus Manly. Both got the Panthers. Raiders versus Dolphins.
You
I
beat
got
me,
the
guys.
Finns. You got the Raiders. And the Sharkies versus the Tigers.
Yeah.
I've got the Sharkies.
By 30 points.
So, bold predictions this week. I got the Storm to keep the Rabbitohs under 10 points and win by 16. I got Cleary to score 90 plus on Supercoach, and Gutho to have a bounce back and score 85 plus in Supercoach. What about you guys? Yeah, I think that's pretty spicy. I like the last one. I think the Warriors will have a crack. That's for sure. So, guys,
For
just
this
want to
week, Gaz,
reiterate
you want to hit in?
about the Supercoach side of things here. Well, obviously, we'll get Gary's update on his team and with his trades and stuff for this week. But each week from now on, again, last week was my bad. I reiterated that. But the Fantasy Files is our new segment, okay, featuring some of my other mates who are really into their Supercoach. We just filmed with Jake and Adam just before this episode has been aired. We talked about our buy, holds, and sell, plays of interest. They're trying to dissect my team, and I'm dissecting theirs. Again, Adam's currently coming, I think, 97th in Australia.
Yeah, guys, if you want to hear
so
my
he's
trades,
definitely a guy to listen to
my
with
rank
Supercoach
and all that, again, go to the Fantasy Files, Apple Podcasts,
and Jake, he's a very, very
YouTube,
good
Spotify.
head-to-head player. I think he's got still 700,000
Definitely worth
in
the
the
watch,
bank,
guys. And
he
again,
scored 1,350
if you can like,
points
subscribe,
this
comment,
week.
share with your mates.
Again, those guys are awesome.
Definitely helps with the
Chris and
algorithm.
Andrew,
For
we're
that
meant
one
to
as well.
feature. They did feature last week, but again, my bad.
Then the show,
regards to
we got the
uploading
Tinnie
episode.
Awards.
But again, if
Okay,
you
so
guys
the
are
Hit
new
Stick
NRL
Award,
Supercoach or
sort
NRL
of
Fantasy,
spoke
definitely
about it just
jump onto the
before,
Fantasy
but
Files.
Tommy
Episode
Starling
2
from the
will be
Raiders.
released
24th
simultaneously
minute.
to this one here.
I was probably
So Gary,
way
what's
from what's
happening with your
happening.
Supercoach at the moment?
Okay, so fans,
what's your
straight into
score?
Tom
What's
Starling.
your
Tom's absolutely
trades?
shot
What's your
on
rank?
this
You beat
one as
me,
well.
Gaz.
Partnering
By 30
AFB.
points.
Really
Does
big
anyone
this week.
have
He's got a
interest
break even
for this week,
148.
Gaz? You want to hit
He
in?
switched.
Yeah,
I
he's
had
good.
him like an L.
So
That was
yeah,
a
guys, if you
100-point
want to
swing, but
hear
Greg
my
Margie,
trades,
well done, mate. You
hear
got
my rank
138
and all
points.
that, again, go to the
Dylan
Fantasy
Edwards with a
Files,
bounce back game. He got
Apple Podcasts,
134.
YouTube,
And
Spotify.
Gazzy Young
Definitely worth the watch, guys. And again, if you can like, subscribe, comment, share with your mates.
Well done.
Definitely helps with
And
the algorithm.
2 Origin bolters
for
there
that one
in
as well.
Dylan Edwards. Some Queenslanders
Then
there
the
next
show,
week.
guys. We got the Tinnie Awards. Okay, so the Hit Stick Award,
Tinnie
we
Award,
sort
but
of
the bloke
spoke
who
about
needs
it
a
just
Tinnie.
before, but
And Gazzy,
Tommy
I think you
Starling
might
from
agree
the
with this one. It
Raiders.
could be
Okay,
Craig
so on the
Bellamy
24th
here.
minute,
So
I was probably
would have thought the
30 metres away
the
from this
Tigers.
happening.
The Storm were
Okay,
up
so Tommy
16 to
Starling
2 and then conceded
RCG.
40 points in a
RCG
row.
would probably
Okay,
win
the late
25
consolation
metres
try
or so.
did not help
Back
Craig Bellamy,
fence,
and I
straight into Tom
guarantee
Starling.
that the
Tom Starling's
Rabbitohs are
absolutely
probably going to
put
get
the shot
thumped
on
this week because
and
Melbourne still want to be
knock
coming
the
out
ball out.
hot.
I think it's a
What are
no-brainer.
your
Tom
thoughts on
Starling's
Craig
probably
Bellamy,
about my
Gaz, getting
size,
the bloke
maybe
who
about
needs a
5,
tinny?
6 kilograms heavier, but he hit a guy 6 inches taller than him and about 30 kilograms heavier than him. So absolutely earned that award. The Hit Stick Award definitely goes to Tommy Starling. The Hidden Gem Award, again, sort of preempted this one as well, but Oregon Kafusi from the Cronulla Sharks. He's one of their front rowers partnering AFB. He scored the opener instead of another in Cronulla's win over the Knights. Look at the eye test,
Okay,
guys.
if you haven't
Big
seen the
unit,
highlights for
okay?
the Eels
Heaps of
versus Tigers
potential.
game,
And again,
go
as his
watch
team
it.
keeps developing and
If you're a
growing,
New South Wales
and
supporter,
using
you'd be
AFB as
frothing
a
at the
sort of
mouth right now.
mental
You'd be
stepping stone,
selling a
I
tinny,
think Oregon
okay?
Kafusi is
But
going to
the
go
big dog
really, really
is
big.
back.
And
Okay.
obviously with Coach Fitzgibbon,
What
he
I sort of
quoted, which I'll say again, we
in the
haven't seen
off-season,
the best of
or the
Oregon yet,
preseason, sorry.
but it's coming. Scary
The Eels with
times
Moses
ahead
are a
with
different
Oregon
team,
Kafusi
and
with the
they
Hidden
looked
Gem
like a
Award
top 8
this week.
team yesterday.
The not so super
with
coach
Moses
award,
back.
Morgan, you're going to love me here,
Okay.
mate. But Latrell
Definitely
Mitchell,
earned the
he
Golden
scored
Tinny
25
Award.
points.
And
It was
what he
pretty
did,
rough.
probably
He's
getting
set to
that
drop
Blues
really
number
big
6.
cash
He
this week.
definitely
He's got
showed
break
Jerome
even
Luai.
148.
Thoughts on
He switched
Mitchell
positions
Moses, Gaz?
late to the centres, so more than likely that 5'8" duel after playing 3 games would be gone. He's also been named at fullback this week, so the potential of him getting a duel at centre is gone. We really dissected this in the fantasy files. Again, I've already pitched this, but again, if you want to hear more about the Latrell Mitchell take on the SuperCoach, go to the fantasy files. The SuperCoach plays around. We got Greggy
from Thomas on
Marju.
YouTube. So again, guys,
I had him in my
your fan
team
question
and
to
I
be
didn't
read
play
out on the
him.
show,
I played Dewey
put it
because
on
he was named a
YouTube,
halfback.
TikTok,
What an L.
Instagram,
That was a
okay,
100-point swing. But Greg Marju,
Spotify,
well done,
Apple
mate. You got
Podcast comments as well.
138
We will
points.
look at them as well.
Dylan Edwards with
again,
a bounce back
put
game.
on there, you might be featured on the next show.
And
But
Gazzy,
this is one
your
from
man
Thomas
that
on
you
YouTube.
want, Hudson Young,
Is Ponga still an Origin lock, or does he need to be dropped?
So those boys
for
really
form?
well done.
Who's your Queensland
And 2
fullback at the moment?
Origin
boys?
bolters there in Dylan
Gaz.
Edwards, Hudson Young. Definitely need
Rip
some
in. What do you
Queenslanders there next week. Our Tinnie Award, but the bloke who needs a Tinnie. And Gazzy, I think you might agree with this one. It could be Craig Bellamy here. Who would have thought the Tigers, the Storm were up 16 to 2 and then conceded 40 points in a row. Okay, the late consolation try did not help Craig Bellamy, and I guarantee that the Rabbitohs are probably going to get thumped this week because Melbourne still want to be coming out hot. What are your thoughts on Craig Bellamy, Gaz, getting the bloke who needs a tinny?
Miso or Hammer. I don't mind that.
The Golden Tinny Award, our
and
illustrious award, our MVP of the week is Mitchell Moses. Okay, guys, if you haven't seen the highlights for the Eels versus Tigers game, go watch it. If you're a New South Wales supporter, you'd be frothing at the mouth right now. You'd be sculling a tinny, okay? But the big dog is back, okay? With Moses in the team, this is what I sort of predicted in the off-season or the preseason. The Eels with Moses are a different team, and they looked like a top 8 team yesterday with Moses back, okay? Definitely earned the Golden Tinny Award. Super impressed in what he did. Probably getting that Blues number 6 because he definitely showed Jerome Luai up. Thoughts on Mitchell Moses, Gazzy? Yep. Easy done. Easy done. Fan question of the week, Gaz, from Thomas on YouTube. So again, guys, if you want your fan question to be read out on the show, put it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, okay, or Spotify, Apple Podcast comments as well. We will look at them as well.
Yeah, he just raises to another
level. Put on there,
level.
You might be featured on the next show.
He's come off the bench, won us the game. He started at fullback and he's won us the series that we shouldn't have won.
Or does he need to be dropped?
Pardon me. Yeah, he's
Who's
definitely
your Queensland
my
fullback at the moment?
But I wouldn't mind seeing Hammer there.
Well, so Walsh injured.
So
probably not
by
going to be there.
default, you almost have
Ponga,
to put due
not
to
great
scarcity
form,
in the
but he's a
centre
gun.
position.
Like when he's wearing better players, sure he's going to play better. A smoky
Not
that we
ideal.
could look
But
at
anyway,
is
Thomas, I
Hamiso
hope that
or
answered your
Hammer
question,
at
mate.
fullback.
Again,
Don't mind
put
that.
your comment. Happy
And then
to talk about it again.
At fullback.
But guy,
when
Gazzy,
Walsh,
that's pretty much the show.
Remember, if you recall, Billy ran down to the field.
Another episode, another day.
Gave Hammer
through that grind.
quick little instructions on the sideline. Go look it on YouTube, guys.
It's at the moment. I think you might get a little feature on the tackles and tinnies
the most upside
Instagram.
He just raises to another level, and